Good morning, everybody. I thought I would pop in because I have not been doing videos for the past couple weeks, and I apologize again for that. It seems like I apologize in every video for that. But I've had a rough several weeks. Actually, the whole month of October, I've been very sick. As you guys probably could see from all my videos on my Potsy Mommy channel, I couldn't handle it. I was getting very depressed, and I still am just very sick. I put on as much makeup as I could today because I'm tired of looking like The Walking Dead. That's what I feel like. I just look like, ugh. And part of it is just because my blood pressure's been all weird and just, yeah, haven't been able to do much. Um, anyway, so I decided that I actually run this Hopekeepers group, and Hopekeepers is a chronic illness support group that meet in churches, and we use like a template, kind of the Hopekeepers guide, and there's a website that kind of gives us training on how to do these support groups, and I've decided to start one, and I've been doing it for the past 3 or 4 weeks. And we are actually in this book right here, Learning to Live with Chronic Illness, and by Lisa Copen. Yeah, Lisa Copen. And she's the founder of Hopekeepers. And I wanted to share a couple of her lessons because I wanted to go through this book in the next few videos because it's really taught me a lot. It brings you back to the basics of how to live with a chronic illness. And I know most of us, we know how to live, but we haven't, there's some things in here that I didn't even know and that I didn't realize. And so I just thought I would share the first lesson. It is, I Can't Do It Alone, Study 1. And I'll read this devotional and then I'll read the verse. It says, God knows exactly what I need. Jeanette tells her, sorry, let's start over, my voice. God knows exactly what I need, Janelle tells her friend. And he knew that I didn't need to clean kitchen floors today. Dirty kitchen floors and clean shower stalls are not often our priorities when we are just trying to make it through the basic tasks of every day while living with a chronic illness. Eventually, these things must be done, however, and sometimes we need to ask for help. When we're diagnosed with a chronic condition, we become dependent on other people in a way that can be difficult in which to adjust. I find myself in situations every day where I must ask for help, shares Janelle. I allow people to open doors for me. I ask the grocery checker to open the jar of whatever I purchase for dinner. I ask people to open, close, push, pull, twist, turn, reach, grab, tighten, loosen, lock, and pour in the average of a 12-hour day. Each time it becomes a little easier to ask for help than the last. Each time, however, I wish I was capable of doing it myself. Why is it so much easier to give help to others than it is to receive it? When we are able to help out friends by cooking a meal or running an errand, we receive great joy in knowing that we are being of assistance. When they're trying to return the favor, though, we stammer in awkwardness. That's really not necessarily. I'm fine, really. Yet deep down, we know that we are not fine. We know that we could really use help, but it's often easier for us to deny this fact than to accept that we are no longer able to accomplish all we did once upon a time. Okay. So in Exodus 17, 8 through 13, it says, Then Amalek came and fought against Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, Choose men for us to go out and fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will station myself at the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. Joshua did as Moses told him. He fought against Amalek, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. So it came about when Moses held his hand up that Israel prevailed. And then when he let his hand down, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy. They took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and one on the other. Thus his hands were steady until the sun set. So Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write in this book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar and named it, "The Lord is my banner." And he said, "The Lord has sworn, the Lord will have war against Amalek from generation to generation." So that passage was talking about how Moses couldn't hold his hands up, and every time his hands would fall down, bad things would happen. So when he was trying to do everything by himself, bad things were happening. And so his friends were trying to stop those bad things from happening, so they helped him by holding his hands up for him, standing on each side of him. So there's some questions in here just for you guys to think about, or if you even want to answer the questions, you can. The first question, how was Moses able to hold his hands up for many hours? And my answer is because his friends helped him. He wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. Did Moses accept the help of his friends easily? That I don't know. It doesn't really specify in there to me, but maybe you guys have a different version that has something better wording or different wording or something that maybe explains it better. What would have occurred if Moses had not accepted the help of his friends? So, yeah, what would have happened? What could have happened? Amalek would have won, and that's a bad thing, and bad things would have happened. Aaron and Hur held up Moses' hands, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunup. God's power was flowing through the fingertips of Moses, and yet God still allowed Moses' arms to become tired. Why do you believe God placed Moses in the situation where he had to accept help? That's a good question there, because, yeah, like, God gave Moses all this power, but why would he make his friends have to help hold his arms up? You know, like, what do you guys think about that? And then the last, or one of the other questions, when is the last time you remember asking for help? Me, I'll ask for help, but then when it comes down to it, I'll say, never mind, I don't need it, because I chicken out. I have a hard time asking for help, really hard. Jesus said it's more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35b. Most of us feel more comfortable giving to others than we do receiving. Discuss why some people find it easier to ask for help than others, and which way do you tend to be, and why do you believe you feel the way you do? Okay, I just read that question, but I didn't comprehend it at all. So, I mean, I understand it, but like my mind was somewhere else. There was too many questions in that one question there. In other words, why is it better to give than to receive? That's a good question. And can you think of some ways that God has blessed you when you've had to accept help from others? And actually, I can think of a great example of that. The only place that I feel comfortable asking for help is here with you guys, because I feel like we understand each other, and I feel like you guys have helped me so much, and I always feel comfortable asking for help here. And I always like to be able to help as well. I mean, it makes me feel really good, like I am being used by God, and that helps my self-confidence, and that helps me feel like I am here for a reason. And by us letting other people help us, it gives them that same blessing. So in a way, when we let people help us, it helps them. So maybe and I can say that so many times, but when it comes down to it, that's a hard thing to do. It's really hard because you have to humble yourself. And humbling yourself is hard to do, especially for me. I mean, I've always had issues with that. And the last question, list 5 things you are currently trying to take care of that someone else could help you with if you would allow it. Yeah, when I did this lesson, I couldn't even think of one. I could not even think of one. And I still am having trouble with that one, listing 5 things. So that is good homework for all of us, is to think of 5 things that you are trying to do yourself, but if someone else helped you, it would help you so much, and it would be an easy thing for someone to help do. For me, I don't know. I have to think about that one. I have trouble thinking about that one. But anyway, so yeah, that was that lesson on accepting help and the importance of receiving help from other people and how it blesses other people. I think that's a good way to look at this lesson. But yeah, I just wanted to share that and just say that God does things like this for a reason. He wants us to depend on each other for a reason. Excuse me. Because it's a blessing to other people as well. So anyway, so I hope you guys have a good morning and day or evening or afternoon whenever you're watching this. And I will be hopefully posting a video up on Friday too. So I will talk to you later. Bye.